Welcome to another episode of Treknicity, that show where we pretty much talk about anything that has anything to do with Star Trek. My name is Lars, I'm your host. I'm coming to you from somewhere beyond the cosmos, or, oh, let's face it, in Southern California, so it's pretty much the same thing. Joining me again is my fellow redshirt geek and hetero life mate, Patrick, for another review of a Star Trek movie.
Yes, because, let's see here, the last Treknicity, it was the review of Star Trek 6. The last time we have to see Kirk!
Nope. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about it after we did that episode, and I was kept saying to myself, it's Star Trek 6 in the City. Well, we just need Carrie Bradshaw to show up on the bridge of the Enterprise and rock and roll.
Well, if with the Next Generation, they could just holodeck in a horse and pretend. Wait, what?
You mean the woman whose face looks like a foot?
Wait a minute. She appears in this movie. Two of her. Wait, what? Go ahead. Anyway.
In this episode, we're going to talk about Star Trek Generations, the 7th movie in the order of franchise.
And the first of the Next Generation. So, yay! No more old people trying to make movies.
And the particular, what was particularly notable about this one is that they were playing musical uniforms.
Go on.
Okay, so let's just actually get right into it. This movie starts off with a very ominous looking shot of space, and then eventually you see what appears to be something floating across the screen. It ends up being a bottle of Dom Perignon. And you're like, oh.
So what? It wasn't an evil space probe come to do something.
No, that was 2 movies ago. No, three movies ago.
3 movies and 6 movies ago.
Yeah.
Because
what is it with evil alien space probes?
They're looking for Kirk.
Yeah, because he is an evil alien space probe.
Either way, this bottle smacks against the USS Enterprise.
Nice.
1701 B.
Yeah. So we see the christening of the Enterprise B. We find that it is an Excelsior class ship.
Woohoo!
Which was kind of funny because given as much smack as Scotty gave the Excelsior, he was actually pretty praising of it when they actually show him on the bridge. So anyways, so we are at the christening and the maiden voyage of Enterprise B. It cuts away from the outside shot, goes onto the bridge. Of course, the bridge opens. You see a bunch of reporters. You're thinking, oh, somebody important and really cool must be on the bridge of the Enterprise. And then you realize it's Kirk and Scotty.
It's like Glory Hog Kirk.
Yeah. And
dragging Scotty and Chekhov because they're the only ones that agreed to appear in this movie.
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, side note, little fun fact trivia. They did ask Leonard Nimoy to appear as Spock. However, he felt that basically it was just a cameo appearance, and since he fought so hard to basically stop playing Spock, he thought, well, no, I have an opportunity to step away for good, because even at this point, his tenure as Spock on Next Generation was done as well, so he was done, and he
said, and we never saw him in a Star Trek movie again.
Keep coming back. We'll cover that one when we get to Star Trek 11.
Credit or credit's due. At least Shatner didn't show up in the Abrams Trek movies as another character to say, "Hey, look at me, I'm still alive." Because if he can't be Kirk, nobody can be.
Yeah, in the style of you running D&D in combat, your captain is still alive.
Okay, so where were we? Oh, Cameron's the captain. I'm sorry, whatever the character is, Alan Ruck plays him. He's Cameron. He'll never live that down. It sucks, again, but it's true.
Another fun fact: the character of John Harriman, his wife is named Sloane, and they have a daughter named Ferris. And the Sloane and Ferris live in Chicago. That was a little nod to Ferris Bueller's Cliff.
Oh. Cameron, you're never going to get out of that one, are you?
Oh, yeah. And the other thing that was funny is apparently the character John Harriman has a passion for 20th century Italian sports cars. Excuse me, folks. I just got over being sick this week or last week, so yeah.
Which is why we had 2 weeks without Treknicity.
Yeah. Well, one was that we did record one in.
Oh yeah,
Ohio.
you did. We did, and then you were on the road. Then the following week you were sick, so
I posted what we did in Ohio last week, and now of course we're doing this week and catching up. So, anyways, moving forward, basically they kind of look around the ship. They come back onto the bridge, getting ready to take off, and Chekhov introduces Kirk to an Asian woman on the bridge. So of course, naturally, Kirk is like, "Ooh, hey, how you doing?"
I gotta tap that.
And then it's like, "Oh, it's Demora Sulu." Great.
Okay. Well, it looks like I can get Sulu more pissed off at me.
Yeah.
Well, that's George Takei. Never mind.
Take one. 6-1 half.
Who cares? Who cares? It's Space Poon.
Yeah. So it was a nice little nod to the character. So Demora Sulu is Hikaru Sulu's daughter, and she is an recent Academy graduate who has been assigned as helmsman of Enterprise B.
I guess straight at this timeline.
Yeah, and also another little fact: one of the reporters. In fact, you see him immediately as the turbolift opens at the beginning of the bridge sequence when Kirk comes out, and that is Rick Berman, who was the producer of this movie and also producer of TNG and Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and I don't think he worked much on Enterprise. But anyways, just little fun facts.
Yeah. He was also responsible for writing the story here. So
yeah,
all the other things.
So they're getting ready to take a little. They're kind of looking around. They're thinking about taking a little trip around Pluto, and they're like, "Okay, we're just going to take a quick trip around the solar system and come back." Cool. Suddenly, of course, distress call comes in, and the Enterprise, of course, is the only ship available.
Probably the only ship in the sector, so okay, let's go. We don't have our stuff, but why not? And of course, everything will be installed on Tuesday.
You know, it would have been funnier if every starship had celebrates Tuesday as like Taco Tuesday, you know. But I guess on the Enterprise it'd be Tractor Beam Tuesday, but still, you know.
Still, everything is awesome. Everything is wonderful when you're part of a team. No, okay.
Hey.
So, of course, they go to rescue the ships that are caught in this ribbon we don't know anything about.
Right.
Which is throwing a bunch of radiation and cool stuff, and I forget the specifics because I just didn't listen to the techno babble.
Well, the first ship gets blown up pretty quickly, and they don't have a chance to save anybody. Then the second ship, which is the Lakul, they do manage to get some of them beamed off. Of course, you know, Kirk says, well, Harriman gets all flustered. He's like...
47 of 150 total.
Right. He gets Kirk to step in and give him some help. They move into transporter range. They beam in some people. Turns out that at least two of those people, we see one is Dr. Tolian Soren, and...
But played by Malcolm McDowell.
Yep, and...
Guinan.
Uncredited.
Doesn't show up in the credits anywhere.
Yep.
Seriously.
And it's funny because she
has a speaking part, a couple scenes, and seriously,
sure does. So
I think they gave her credit on TNG episode she showed up in.
Right, but I guess this was, you know, the thing is the character wasn't scripted into the series, and they kind of just wedged her in. I know. Look, don't give me that look.
Yeesh. I mean, she's like one of the coolest characters of the TNG. Of the recurring characters. Not the coolest because Q exists.
Of course. And Data.
Nope. Shouldn't get. Well, no, he's a main cast, though.
Oh, true. Okay, you're talking about recurring guest character. Okay.
Recurring characters. Yeah, Q automatically wins because John Delancey is awesomer than awesome. Mm-hmm. But I wish they had gotten us a Q movie. That would have been cool. But no.
Look, you never know. You never know. You might see him come back and reprise the role of Q in something. Remember, the new Picard series is coming out next year, so And you know Q won't let Picard alone.
Yep. Okay, so let's see here. Where were we? Oh. So now the Enterprise is stuck in the thing and stuck in this ribbon, and suddenly they're panicking. And of course, for a moment, Cameron almost gives the ship over to Kirk and runs down to save the day. But no, Kirk says, "No, I'll save the day because I'm cooler. It's your ship anyway." So I'll run down and go save it. And boom! And apparently he's dead. Yay! Yes. No more Kirk in this movie.
During the operation, they use a phase pulse from the deflector to simulate a torpedo blast, which is allowing them to escape from the ribbon. Of course, during that point, the ribbon strikes the ship right where Kirk is making changes to the deflector dish, and of course, boop, bye. Bye-bye.
My God, was there anybody in here? Now we're out of doing Star Trek movies anymore because he's dead. Yes. No more Kirk. No more Kirk in this movie. We bookended it, so we're done. Roll credits.
Yeah. What if Picard had told Scotty in the episode Relics that Kirk had survived? Although that was actually, that was before. So that was before. Yep. Chronologically, it was before, so he couldn't have.
But he could have tracked down Scotty and said, "Hey, Scotty, guess what? Kirk showed up. I found Kirk in that Nexus thing, that ribbon that got smacked." So we went and we saved a planet and stopped the sun from being blown up and saved my crew. And Kirk died.
This time for real.
This time for real. So you really don't have to worry about him. It's about time. Oh well. Okay, so we zoom out, beautiful shot of the ship, and we cut to the ocean. Mm-hmm. And it's the Enterprise. Again.
Again, another stupid sea boat.
Except this one's this is like a sailing vessel.
Yeah,
and
it's a galleon is what it is.
Yep. Apparently the crew's on there and they are getting ready to have Worf walk the plank because they're promoting him, and they get him to jump for a hat. Of course, he's the only one that gets. Of course, he gets it because it's Worf. It's like, yeah, I'm better than all of you. I'm better than everybody, especially you, Riker.
Yeah. Wait. The only thing that really got me is that I felt it was a little bit kind of skirting the line when they bring the black guy out of the hull in chains on the boat.
Well, basically, we're not going there. We're not going there. We are just not even going there again. Yeah,
I was just like, do these guys realize what they're doing with this? I mean, how closely that resembles, 17th, 18th century slavery? Bring the black guy out of the hold in chains.
Well, they unchained him and let him walk the plank.
Yeah,
and then he gets the thing, and he's triumphant, and
then Riker instructs the computer to remove the plank instead of retracting it. Of course, it disappears, and Worf goes for a swim and a drink.
Then Data, trying to figure out how this was funny, decides to push Dr. Crusher in, and she goes asshole over apple cart, and everybody's like,
Data, what are you doing?
That was not funny. Oh, wonderful. I thought it was hilarious. Bitch deserves to drown. Oh, wait, what? Not really. Okay.
So yeah, of course, they cut back. There's a signal. Captain Picard is paged. He opens the archway. He reads a message, and of course, you can tell immediately something's wrong. Even if they didn't ham fist Counselor Troy getting one of her vibes, and then handing the ship over to some random little, homeless dude.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, again, this is where having Patrick Stewart versus Shatner. Sir Pat always wins on these because he's awesomer than awesome. He's not Shatner. He generally doesn't overact, and when he takes the overacting, it feels like you've earned it rather than I am upset because I am an overactor. That was a little too Shatner for even Shatner, I think.
Yeah, you're more Shatner than Shatner.
But, of course, this Picard moment is interrupted because they get a stress call. And being the only ship in the sector,
What is it with these guys? I mean, there's like Starfleet has like one operating ship at a time. They say there's other ones, but there really isn't.
Well, thankfully, they figure that out with space transporters in a movie that doesn't actually exist. And magical space blood so nobody ever dies.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that movie can burn in fire and go to hell.
Wait till we review it. Well, sorry, wait till I review it and you sit there in protest. Yeah, you can basically sit like that with...
Yeah, pretty much that's going to be it.
But that movie deserves that. So...
Yeah. But I will at least read something so I at least don't completely forget what happens in the stupid thing.
Right.
So let's get back to it. They have a distress call from a station. I can't remember it. I'm sure you do.
The Amagosa station.
They roll up, and apparently the place has been shot up. They find some people. They find some bodies. They find a couple living people. They find who we are now introduced to as Dr. Tolian Soran, played by Malcolm McDowell. We only saw him earlier as some crazy guy says, I gotta go back. The ship blew up. But I still gotta go back.
Yeah, pretty much. And
so they find him, and then they find a Romulan.
Yep, old bloodied Romulan.
Some really greenish blood.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. I can't read my own writing.
All right, come on, Grandpa. So... what they do is they end up getting off the station, everybody off the station, and they basically, okay, we're going to investigate this. And
Meanwhile, Data and Geordi are discussing why Data shoved Dr. Crusher in the water, and he decides, okay, screw it, we're going to put on my emotion chip. That can possibly affect the plot significantly, can it?
No, not at all. It's not gonna be anything to adjust the story at all.
Next, you're gonna tell me Kirk's gonna show up.
No, he doesn't show up. I promise. I'll never die. If you promise me,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was just making a joke. Of course, if you promised me that you'd never die, I'd make love to you right now. I promise I will never die.
So we see that they're still continuing investigation, but Picard's getting all snippy and yelling, just telling Riker to do everything. Something's still not right. We don't know what it is. They're still hanging on to it. But he goes down to talk to Dr. Soran, who, of course, is giving him the crazy eye and talking about time and losing everything or whatever.
Time
and
is the fire in which we burn.
This mother.
So, that's foreshadowing right there. He even says it, because we find out that Tolian Saran is an Alarian, and
with googly eyes.
Yeah, with the same race as Guinan.
Well, of course, kind of notices him, but she's not important yet, so we'll talk to her in a little bit.
Yeah. He basically makes the comment to Picard, time is the fire in which we burn.
Fire, burn! Wait.
Oh, that would be great if they just, sort of brought in Beavis.
Yeah. I could see injecting a little Beavis into that. That would even make the scene better. So, find out the Romulans were looking for something called trilithium, which can really make a star go boom.
Well, what it does, it stops all fusion inside the star and causes it to supernova.
In short, boom!
Yeah. Oh, star fall down and go boom!
So Data and Geordi get to go over and look for it. This leads to Data laughing at a joke that was told back in the first episode of Encounter in Farpoint.
Although I don't remember that. I don't remember that joke ever popping up during the Farpoint. Man,
there, and it wasn't funny at all, and I don't know. I'd have to go looking for it or care.
Yeah. Anyways.
So that leads to Data turning a tricorder and talking and laughing like an idiot, and we get some. This is at this point, Brent Spiner gets to ham fist everything.
I do think it was kind of funny. Data, have you ever seen a probe of this configuration? No, Geordi. Mr. Tricorder.
You can see my probe. Trust me, it's fully functional, programmed in multiple techniques. Wait, what?
That line never appears again. Never.
Finally, Data gets the crazy laugh and shorts out for a bit. And so by the time he gets up and sort of function again, Dr. Soren shows up, and of course, one punches Geordi because he's a pansy.
Yeah.
And the Data's going, oh no, oh,
Right,
scared and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
because he's never experienced fear before, ever. So
yeah,
but he's not prepared for it.
Pansy. Don't worry, Picard will deal with that shit later.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that we cut over to Picard. He's sitting there looking all sad, and in walks Counselor Troy, and we find out that his brother, his brother's wife, and his nephew Renee have all burned to hell in a fire.
Yep. Robert and Renee. I can't remember the wife's the mother's name, but anyways, yeah. So of course, he's upset because one, he's lost his brother, his sister-in-law, and his nephew. Second, he's upset because he felt comfortable never having a family, because when Robert had children, the Picard line would continue. And now he's back to square one, and now he's old as sin.
I could still take some Beverly and give Wesley Crusher some half siblings.
Let's say a half brother,
half sister, half whatever. Then you can make Wesley call you daddy.
Shut up, Wesley. And you get to say it for real.
But thankfully, we never see Will. He can come back because he's left, and we'll never see him in a Star Trek movie again.
Ever.
As Wesley. Ever.
And it's not, I swear, he's not going to show up in the middle of Counselor Troy and Commander Riker's wedding, which never happens.
You're confusing. You're talking the last really shitty TNG movie and the movie that doesn't exist.
What, are you talking about Insurrection?
No.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
This is the best movie, one of the best movies of the series, and possibly the best if you even compared to Star Trek 6 and Star Trek 2. The next movie is the best, and then it goes. The quality goes.
Yep. Well, we'll talk about that in other episodes. So of course, yes, he's all weepy because he's lost family, and now he realizes that the burden of continuing on the Picard line now falls on his shoulders.
But we can't have too much emotion, so the star goes.
Yep.
Oh no! And they go out and say, "Oh, there's a level 12 shockwave. It'll blow up everything in system. We kind of got to get out of here in 5 minutes." So Riker, and since they're not hearing from Geordi and from Data, they send Riker and Worf go over to find out, and Dr. Soren starts shooting at him. Data's sitting there cowering like a little bitch.
Pretty much.
So the Klingons show up, and we hear somebody saying, "We need your coordinates. We're going to beam you off." And they beam him off, and then the Klingon ship Cloaks takes off, and the Enterprise spins, and boom, the station gets reduced to a fine mist. It's dust.
Yeah.
Poof. Poof, you're dead.
So we find out that Geordi has been kidnapped by Tullian Sauron, who has been beamed over to the ship of Lursa and Bator.
Woohoo! It's Lursa and Bator. They're awesome.
Yeah, the Duras sisters.
I totally tap Bator. She's Lursa's a little
whatever.
I don't know. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, it was going to get away from us for a second, but we're glad we pulled it back in.
Pulling it back in. I'd like to do that just a little.
Hey! This is a family show. This isn't about making families.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to Kirk yet, so yeah, he'd have probably tapped Lursa and Bator at the same time because it's Kirk.
Yeah, and he would have probably survived it too.
So at this point, and so we learn that they're interested in a weapon, which obviously Soren's going to provide, and who knows what they're going to do. But now we get the background on Soren, which leads us to Guinan, which leads an info dump on the Nexus where time is irrelevant and it's like happy land.
Yeah, it's kind of like me on vacation.
Reminds me of Mableland, except less colorful.
Jeez, I still haven't
Yes,
watched.
I got a Gravity Falls reference in.
I still haven't
and if you
finished
never
watching.
and folks, if you never watched Gravity Falls, watch it. It's better than Star Trek. I'm not kidding about that.
I love Gravity Falls. It's great. Almost as funny as Big Mouth.
Yeah, but it's better than Big Mouth. Big Mouth is we're not going into Big Mouth because that'll take us down the Kirk hole.
Yeah, and that's a 3x2 topic.
Okay, so let's talk about our dicks. Say that on. Okay, so pretty much it's just an info dump on who Soren is, what the Nexus is, and that he will pretty much do anything he can to get into the Nexus. That's what he wants. That's life for him.
I mean, seriously, like I understand that the Google phones are pretty decent, but I don't think the Nexus was worth all that. Oh, sorry,
Nope.
Wrong Nexus.
So we cut back to Soren. He's got Geordi, and Geordi's, of course, he's playing with his visor and trying to torture information out of him because he's a bad guy. So gotta torture Geordi. I mean, he's had it done enough times, and no big.
What would have happened if I've lost his name. Oh my goodness, Sir Osric was there. Sir Osric torturing is evil. Sir Osric won't let it happen.
Well, we're referencing way too much stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, basically, we cut to the new set of the Enterprise, which is Stellar Cartography, which is a really cool set, and we get to mostly see Data whining like a little bitch, and Picard saying, smack it upside the head and saying, "Hey, bitch, suck it up. You're a whiny little bitch, and I don't tolerate pussies on my ship, but I want you to suck it in and let's get moving on this." And Data's like, "Oh, I can't take it anymore. I want to stop feeling things. Ah, shut up, Data."
Yep, pretty much.
So Data holds it together long enough for them to figure out, hey, if you eliminate this star, the Nexus's path changes this way, and if you blow this one up, it'll go through a planet. So that's got to be where he's going. So off they go.
Off they go.
Ta-da!
So they get over to the Viridian system.
Yep. So let's see here. What do we have happen there?
Okay, so they approach the Viridian system. Then we cuts back over to Lursa and Bator's ship with Soren, and
he hands them a weapon and says, "I'll decrypt it I'll give you the decrypt once I get on the surface, and I'm happy." So gives them the information. And of course, the Enterprise shows up, and they kind of want Geordi back. So Soren beams down to the planet. Meanwhile, Lursa and Bator decide to flirt with Picard a little bit because why not? Yeah. I assume it's flirting because Klingons insult people when they're flirting. And ultimately, Picard agrees to trade himself for Geordi, but he gets to be beamed down to the planet to talk to Soren. Geordi comes back all beat up, and they take him to sick bay. But it turns out that
Soren has put a transmitter in his visor.
So eventually, Geordi starts wandering around the ship, and Lursa and Bator are watching constantly, trying to see if anything, and mostly they're just ripping on human women for being ugly and Geordi for not going to engineering. Meanwhile, on the planet, Picard's trying to reason with Soren, because that's what Picard does, is talks a whole lot.
Yeah, he monologues a lot.
It doesn't work. Soren's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll kill billions of people, but they'll all be dead. No big. I'll be in the Nexus. Screw you guys. I'm going to heaven.
Yeah, basically. We just need that song from South Park. Where were you when they built the ladder to heaven?
The Nexus. The Nexus.
9/11, 9/11, 9/11.
So finally, Geordi gets engineering. They see the shield modulation, and it's like, okay, set the frequency of the weapons to match it. They start blasting the shit out of the Enterprise, and the Enterprise starts getting... Things start exploding because we got to explode the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah. So what happens is that they separate the Enterprise.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet because we still have a Klingon ship shooting him. Mm-hmm. Luckily, they mess with the cloaking device, and blast Lars Di Scenza, but too late. The Enterprise is going to blow up, so separation.
Right. Fun fact here, the shot of Lars and Bator's ship blowing up is the exact same piece of footage of General Chang's ship from Star Trek 6 blowing up. They just recycled
Yep, I couldn't remember which movie it was from, but I was like, I've seen that explosion before. Oh, wait a minute, that's the last movie. Gotta reuse the shot.
Yeah.
Probably was the USS Excelsior they repainted to be the Enterprise. I'm sure that's the case.
You would be right.
And I'm sure they just shined up the old 1701D model for this movie. And so, yeah, I'll gotta keep reusing stuff because make it cheap.
That's right.
Otherwise, you get no more Star Trek. So let's see here.
When we get Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah. So here's what happens. So basically, they separate, and unfortunately, Troy is driving the ship. So she doesn't steer it the right direction. The ship, the Star Drive section, blows up, and she flies into the planet.
I was going to say,
damn women drivers. But upon about the entry, the atmosphere, Data cracks the best line in the movie. Data looks at Ed and says,
"Oh
shit!"
First time there was explicit swearing in Star Trek. Not the last time, but the first time.
Well, what did you call what happened back in Star Trek 4?
Double dumbass on you. I mean, yeah, but that's. I mean, when you think of swearing, that's nothing. I mean, dumbass and the hell and all that stuff. That's nothing. I mean, that was just very, very PG. You know,
it was a step up then. This is the next level.
Yeah.
I think Discovery's pretty much said, yeah, we'll say whatever we want. Screw you guys.
Yeah, they dropped the F-bomb at least twice in one episode. Still don't agree with that, but hey, you know, whatever.
As in, why the are we in this show?
Yeah. Now that I would have understood.
Or were they looking at Klingons for the first time and saying, what the? Okay. So the ship crashes the planet. Picard fails to talk Sora down, so he tries to stop him and gets his ass kicked because it's Picard. Picard ain't the... He needed to learn to judo chop more. So Soren blows up the sun.
Kung fu fighting.
He gets sucked into the Nexus. Picard apparently gets sucked in there, and everybody dies. Roll credits!
Yeah. Movie's over. I'll wait. So
no, Picard is in the Nexus now, and he's got a family and everything, and Renee's not dead and burning in fires.
It's so funny because I just, with him spinning around and everything, I just all I could remember, all I could hear in my head was from Wayne's World.
Okay, so Picard stares at a tree and then realizes, wait a minute, this isn't real. I mean, I'm happy, but this isn't real. I want to be miserable. I need my pain. Wait, where does that sound familiar? I'll figure it out later. So he gets to talk to Guinan. Guinan shows up and explains, oh yeah, you can pretty much go wherever you want because it's the Nexus and time doesn't have meaning. So you pick it, you go back. Okay, I want to go back to where I was before to stop Soren, but I need help. Well, how about this asshole? And we get Kirk!
And, of course, you know, in typical Kirk fashion, he's basically playing with his wood.
Ham-fisting everything. Oh, controlling the scene. Everything's Kirk, and talking to Kirk. I'm an asshole, Kirk. I'm an asshole, Kirk. They didn't have any apples in the scene. Had they had it, would have been perfect. They had those fugly-looking eggs and a dog and
the Kataran eggs and
some bitch that Kirk was going to nail.
Yeah, and his dog Butler, and of course his girlfriend Antonia.
And then they go riding. And Kirk's enjoying all this stuff, but then they go riding and he jumps something and he realizes, I was scared every time, but this time I didn't. I need to feel I need my pain.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
shit! This is Star Trek 5.
It could be worse. I mean, he could have started talking to Sarah Jessica Parker.
Go on.
So, eventually, Picard manages to convince Kirk that he needs to come back to Viridian 3 and help him stop Soren. And he's like, well, yeah, who am I to argue with the captain of the Enterprise?
Because I'm Kirk. I'm the real captain. You're just a pseudo captain.
Yeah.
You're old, bald, and don't get anything. I get it all. I get every color, man.
Don't lecture
every
me.
Color. I've had bitches with 2 of them.
3 of them.
Like 5 and...
I just imagine anybody that Kirk was with, you just cutting to that scene from Galaxy Quest when Guy Fleegman is watching General Tech Sergeant Chen and Leliari making out, and he's like, "Oh, that's not right."
Okay, so they return back to the planet, and this time Soren's crossing the bridge, and we see somebody step in and says, "Who are you?" And it's Kirk. Oh no! So Kirk starts fighting and smacks and starts judo chopping and shit. And,
for a second, I thought would be hilarious during that scene is if all the music stops and you just hear, "Oh, everybody was Kirk Fu fighting. That cat was fast as lightning." Oh, come on. I know my singing's bad, but, I mean, that's pretty funny.
So, ultimately, Soren blasts a bridge, and the control that they need to turn on to decloak the device is across it. Kirk goes for it, gets it, presses the button, but then falls and crashes, and it looks awesome, and I'm hoping he's dead. And Picard gets the thing and stops the probe from launching, just in time for Soren to get there and get the Michael Bay treatment because it explodes in fireballs.
Yep.
Kirk goes and finds Kirk, and Kirk dies. Woohoo! Finally, he's dead! Die, you bastard!
Yeah, pretty much. And of course, the whole line. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but Kirk's final words are, "Oh my." Now, it'd been better is if like Sulu just popped in his head and like, "Oh my."
And then pissed on Kirk's corpse.
He probably would have, yeah, if he had had the chance.
Yes, he would have. You know it.
Either that or he would have buried him in a rainbow flag. So
after indulging a little necrophilia.
So since the Nexus or since the Star was not destroyed, the Nexus ribbon goes flying peacefully overhead, and not everybody dies. So we cut back to the Enterprise, the saucer section.
Yep. Picard gets picked up, goes back, and they're scraping up the remnants of the ship. Kirk, I think, doesn't actually offer Riker the captain's chair. He should have said, "Well, there's the chair. You could have it now."
Like,
you want the captain's chair? Here it is. Thank you, dumb bitch.
Oh, fine. My girlfriend wrecks the ship, and you give me the chair. Thanks a lot.
Data gets see. I mean, he finds his cat spot.
That actually was pretty.
Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. So
they get picked up by the Farragut and a couple other little ships, and they fly off the end. Da-da-da. We'll give this about 3 out of 5, maybe.
Yeah, I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5.
It is better than the first original crew movie because Star Trek: The Motionless Picture was boring. This actually had some fun stuff, some excitement, and
Kirk dies.
And Kirk dies.
Could you imagine if Kirk died in the first movie? And we're in our own Nexus.
And J.J. Abrams never rebooted the series, so we never got a movie that doesn't exist. And this was the last TNG movie or something. The next movie's the last TNG movie. And there's no ones after that. And Star Trek V got erased from history accidentally, so we never saw anything from it. And this movie didn't borrowed from Star Trek V.
I
need my pain.
So that is basically Star Trek Generations in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Help, I'm in a nutshell. Okay.
How did I get into this bloody nutshell? Yes. Anyways. So, in the next episode, we're going to talk about the coolest of the Next Generation crew movies. As you said, quite possibly a contender for the coolest Star Trek movie ever because
the best.
It has kick ass written all over it, and I'm
Borg,
just excited.
baby, Borg.
Yeah, I get to
Borg kick Khan's ass
I'm
up
excited.
one side, down the other, and back up the first side.
I'm excited to see to review this movie. I've already watched it, and I'll watch it again before we review it because it's just a kick ass movie.
Touch myself.
Yep. On that note, this is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Just remember, check us out on redshirtgeeks.tv and Instagram at redshirtgeeks and Facebook the Red Shirt Geeks. So it's time to say goodbye. And with that note, I will say, rock out with your Spock out. Goodbye, folks.